As foragers and herbalists, the best part about having a diverse ecosystem with plants that come back year after year is that we don't have to harvest everything we see. In fact, it can be harmful. And this video is going to be a crucial reminder of that as we highlight this special sacred plant that's on the bucket list for many foragers to find, but due to social media popularity, is becoming over-harvested. Honored by our brothers and sisters from the Cherokee Nation, let's learn about the sacred plant and appreciate it without being selfish and taking it just for the sake of collecting rare things, because this plant medicine actually loses its potency rather quickly.
Now, when we talk about plants that look like they came from another planet, Monotropa Uniflora is definitely one of them. And this is also known as ghost pipe, Indian pipe, or actually the corpse plant. And you'll commonly find it pure white, but it also comes in like pink and deep red colorations and some rare occasions. And most people actually think that this is a mushroom or a fungi, but it's actually a perennial herb. And you'll find it growing throughout the United States, excluding like the Rocky Mountain area. And you can also find it in Asia, Russia, northern South America. And ghost pipe actually prefers to live in these really wooded areas, low humus areas, rich soil, moist areas. And they typically survive where other green plants cannot. And this was actually covered by a whole bunch of leaves. And that's because ghost pipe does not require the sun for photosynthesis.
Ghost pipe is actually in a group of plants known as mycoheterotrophs, and mycoheterotrophic plants are partially or entirely non-photosynthesizing plants, and the roots actually attach to the fungus-covered roots of a photosynthesizing tree, and then this fungus acts as a bridge between the photosynthesizing tree and the ghost pipe plant. So the tree takes the energy of the sun, sends it to the roots, and that feeds this fungus, and that is what these perennial plants then grow on top of. So it's a very unique relationship, and these environmental conditions so low to the ground, taking 3 different species to make happen, really show why it's really rarely seen. And since this plant has a symbiotic relationship with the mycelium, it really can't survive disturbance. And you can Google this plant or look on social media and you'll find so many people telling you that it's no problem if you harvest it, just cut it at the base like it's a mushroom, but it's not a mushroom. So if you take it, you're taking the seeds with you and then it can't spread them. And even touching this plant the wrong way can cause it to bruise and die. And when that happens, it turns black, which is why it's also known as the corpse plant. Now, the reason why this plant is considered sacred is in part to the fact that it's been used by our indigenous brothers and sisters as a medicinal plant for pain relieving benefits. And while studying this plant, I learned of a Cherokee legend. And though this is a word for word, the legend tells of a time long ago when selfishness and arguing first entered the world, and people began quarreling. First, they quarreled with their own families, and then tribal members, and then with other tribes. So the chiefs of several tribes met together to try to solve these disputes and smoked a peace pipe together, but they kept quarreling. And so in punishment for smoking the peace pipe before actually making peace, the Great Spirit turned the chiefs into gray flowers and made them grow where relatives and friends had quarreled. So this is why it's said that the small flowers of this plant droop towards the ground like bowed heads, and it takes the royalty from a bee to come by, pollinate it just so it won't perish but have a chance to come back. And you can find this plant growing as just one single flower or a flowering stalk in little clusters, and they grow from 4 to 8 inches, maybe sometimes as big as 10 inches, and they grow between June and September.
So medicinally, ghost pipe has mainly been used as a nervine and a sedative, and also has antispasmodic benefits too. So you can make a tincture to help ease pain, and individuals with addictions have also found benefits working with this plant as an alternative to opiates. It can also help calm nerves and restlessness, and even help folks with PTSD. Now, it's impossible to typically grow it because you can't really replicate these kind of conditions that we talked about earlier, but the survivalist in you wants to remember that if you're ever out in nature and you need something for a toothache, you can just chew on these. It is considered edible, but there isn't much flavor from what I know. But if you cook it, it has a slight asparagus taste from what I hear. So here's the thing. Areas where this plant has once thrived, they're disappearing because of over-harvesting, and social media popularity is causing this plant to vanish. And ghost pipe is not a rare, threatened, or endangered plant currently on the USDA list of threatened and endangered species, but it is considered being added to the at-risk plants on the United Plant Savers list. So, and we don't want to have it added to the list, so let's slow down on our use of it. There are other nervines and sedatives that we can lean on, and we want to see that this plant thrives because there are individuals who truly need it, and we want to always make sure that the medicine that is needed is always accessible for those in need. Also, tinctures, from what I know, made of ghost pipe actually don't last nearly as long. So some folks that think that they're going to harvest it and make a bunch of tinctures and then keep it on the shelves, well, actually, they actually go down in potency quite fast. So, you know, it's going to be unfortunate just to over harvest it for medicine that doesn't even get used.